Does the department keep records in the normal course of business?
Yes.
And are those records made at or about the time events occur?
Yes.
And are you a custodian of record for
I
the department?
believe. I believe so.
Okay. And have you reviewed the records from this case?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm asking this, you stated you were investigator for a portion of it, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and you were here for the initial removal part.
That's correct.
Okay. So you have access to the records.
Yes.
Okay. And you did review affidavits and investigative reports for this case.
Yes.
Okay. And are those filed with the court?
Yes.
Okay. So you got a call and you've heard the testimony today. You've been here for that. That the mother was arrested.
Correct.
Is that the situation you found when you came to the call?
Yes, I was informed that mom had sold fentanyl pills to an undercover detective and was being detained, and that there was nobody available to care for the kids.
Okay. Did you review notes from the case?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did you find an open case?
Yes.
Okay. And in that case, did it state who the father of the children were?
Yes. Ms. Franco had identified Jose Martinez as father to the two oldest children, and then Dylan Dorsey as the father to the youngest child.
Okay. And in those files, did you also see that there was a no contact order between Mr. Martinez and the children?
Yes.
Okay. At the time where was Mr. Dorsey at the time?
I believe he was incarcerated.
Okay. So at the time that you received the call, mom was being arrested
Correct.
and was already in custody.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
One named father for the Franco child was incarcerated at the time.
Correct.
And Mr. Martinez for the two older children had a no contact order. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. At that time, due to nowhere to place the children or to take the children at the time, was an exigent removal staff?
Yes.
Okay. And the children were removed and placed into care. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And due to the circumstances, you believe that was in the best interest of the children?
Yes.
Okay. Were you ever able, during your portion, were you ever able to meet with the parents?
I did not, because the following morning, the case went back to the primary investigator who held the open case.
Okay. And you have reviewed her case file?
That's correct.
Okay. Who was the primary investigator at that time?
Vanessa Reynoso.
Okay. Was she able to meet with mom?
Yes.
Okay. And where did she meet with the mother?
She met with mom at Potter County Jail.
Okay. And did they discuss the fathers and who to get in contact with?
Yes.
Okay. Did mom give names of possible placements?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Do you know whether the department at that time had looked into any of mother's family?
So I had actually spoken with her sister the night before, because like I said, I was able to kind of review the case, and I had seen that her sister had been a part of it. And so I had spoken with her sister that night before the kids were placed with a different kinship caregiver. And she had told me that she wasn't sure that she could keep the kids. And that she was needing to speak with her husband, and she never got back to me that night. And so I had explored that option. I don't know if Vanessa had made any other attempts to explore options, but I know that she took those, what mom completed, and passed it on to the St. Francis worker to explore.
Okay. And I believe mom had mentioned two sisters earlier by name. Which sister was this that you spoke to? Do you remember?
I spoke with Marina.
Okay. And then where were the children placed? You said you couldn't place with them, so where were the children placed?
They were placed with a paternal aunt who had been a foster parent in like previously. And so we were able to assess her home that night, call references, run checks, make sure everything was appropriate. And she had had a relationship with the kids. And so, placing them there, they were excited whenever we placed them there.
Okay. And do you remember that kinship placement's name?
Yes, I do. It's Christina Davidson.
Okay. Are you aware that that is where they are still placed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Were you ever able to meet, or was Ms. Reynoso ever able to meet with either one of the fathers?
I know that she spoke with Jose by phone, at the beginning of the case.
Okay. But you're not sure if she ever met in person?
I don't believe that she did.
Okay. And the department, as far as investigations in your role, it ends after the adversary hearing, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and the case is transferred over to St. Francis,
That's correct.
and that's for the casework for the next year or however long the case takes.
That's correct.
Okay. After the contacts with mom in jail, adversary happened and the court awarded temporary managing conservatorship to the department, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe, due to the circumstances that we've heard testimony on and what you investigated, that it was in the best interest of the children to be removed and placed with Ms. Davidson,
Yes, I do.
due to no other valid placements at the time?
That's correct.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Archer?
Emily, did you say it was Marina that you first contacted?
Yes,
And you said she never did get back to you.
Well, I spoke with her on the phone that night and she was upset about the removal. You could tell that she cared about her sister and she cared about the kids and she wanted to explore being a placement for them. But she said that she would have to talk to her husband before she could confirm anything. I asked her to let me know and explain that we're on a, kind of a tight timeline, because if we're going to do kinship, we've got to kind of figure something out that night. And she agreed to let me know, and I never got a call back from her.
Did you ever try to contact mom's other sister, Raina?
I didn't have contact information for her. My information that night was very limited because I didn't have a chance to talk to the mom until law enforcement had finished their investigation. And so my information was very limited to what was in the case that I could find. And so I could find Marina and her contact information in the case. And then reviewing previous case history, I had found the paternal aunt who had also expressed that she would help care for the kids at any point.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
All right, Mr. Noah?
No questions. Thank you, Judge.
Ms. Zavala?
I have no questions.
Okay. All right, Mr. Trout, anything further from Ms. Braden?
Just one quick question. Ms. Braden, in the investigative report, states that mom also gave the name of a brother to Ms. Reynoso.
Yes, I did see that as well.
Okay, but she did not have any locating information or contact for him at that time. Is that correct?
That's correct. I didn't find him in any of the history, so I wouldn't have had information for him at the time of removal. But even whenever she completed the paperwork, I don't think she had contact information for him.
Okay, all right. Thank you, ma'am. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, anybody else have any questions for Ms. Braden?
No,
All right, is Ms. Braden free to go at this time?
Thank you, Ms. Braden.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, next witness, Mr. Trout.
Corey Mills, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Mills. If you will, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give on trial today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Mills, would you state your name for the record, please?
Corey Mills.
And Ms. Mills, how are you employed?
I work for St. Francis Ministries as a permanency specialist.
Okay. And are you familiar with the cases we're discussing today on the two Martinez children and the Franco child?
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with that case?
I have been the caseworker for the parents and the children.
Okay. And when St. Francis, y'all received the cases after the adversary hearing, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And what are y'all's first steps normally when you get a case?
Well, we go out and see the children, make sure the placement is safe, and then we begin working with the parents to assign them services, create their family plan, and to mitigate reasons for removal.
Okay. And were y'all able to do that in this case?
No, not in this case.
Okay. And tell me why on that.
Well, Jacqueline has been incarcerated throughout the entire case. I was able to meet with her while she was in Potter County, and since then she's been assigned a courtesy worker that meets with her, but she has been unable to complete many of her services.
Okay. But you did receive certificates of stuff she has done throughout the case.
Yes, she has. I did receive those yesterday. She has done some parenting classes, it looks like.
Okay. And then what y'all generate family plans of service, is that correct?
That's correct.
And these, tell me what family plans of service are.
It is a list of services that parents need to work to help gain skills, to help better parent their children. And it just assigns services based on their needs, such as like drug classes or inpatient care or parenting, individual counseling, things like that.
Okay. And are these tailored to each individual case and parent?
Yes.
Okay. Was that done in this case?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And now you were not the primary worker when it first changed over, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, but you were working with that person.
I was.
Okay, so you do have personal knowledge of all that has happened since the beginning of the case.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Did you help draft family plans?
I did.
Judges, my screen just moved. I don't know if somebody dropped out or something changed on the screen.
See parents? See lawyers?
It may have been somebody just turned the camera off, may have been what happened.
Yeah,
Judge.
I think we're okay.
You helped draft the family plans of service.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And those were filed with the court.
Yes,
Okay. And those were made in order of the court, is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Do you have the exhibits I sent out?
I do.
Okay. Do you recognize exhibit M11?
Yes.
Okay. And what is that? What can you tell me what that is?
I have, I have F11. Is that the family plan
No.
for,
M11.
okay. I'm working on it.
Okay.
Sorry, my screen, it disappeared on me, but I'm getting it back. All right, I got it.
Okay. Can you tell me what that exhibit is?
It is pulling up right now. It is the family plan for Miliana and Maricela for Jacqueline.
Okay. And is this an accurate copy of the plan that you helped draft?
Yes, it is.
And was this plan filed with the court on May 5th of 2025?
Yes.
Okay. Looking at it and going through it, have you noticed, was anything changed, or is this the accurate depiction of that family plan?
No, this is accurate.
Okay. And it was signed by the caseworker at the time and the supervisor at the time?
That is correct.
Okay. Can you tell me what exhibit M12 is?
M12. It is the family plan for Jose Martinez with Miliana and Maricela.
Okay. And was that also filed with the court?
Yes, it was.
And did Mr. Martinez sign that?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And did the caseworker at the time and the supervisor also sign signatures on that?
Yes.
Okay. And this is accurate depiction of the family plan that was filed with the court?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, I would ask to admit exhibits M11 and M12 into the Martinez case.
No objection.
No objection?
No objection.
Okay, M11 and M12 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Mills, did you also attend the status hearing?
I did.
Okay. And at status hearings, are family plans of service generally made in order of a court?
They are.
And was that done in this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you were present at that hearing?
Yes, I was.
Your Honor, I would ask to admit exhibit M13. It's a file marked copy of the status hearing order from this court in the hearing that Ms. Mills stated she was present at.
No objection.
No objection?
Right, hang on, I'm trying to get back to it, just a minute. No. 13?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, 13, okay. I clicked on 14 by mistake, I'm sorry, okay. M13 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. Mills, I'm gonna switch gears on you just real quick. You pulled up the other exhibits a while ago that are marked F11, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell me what F11 is?
That is the family plan for Jacqueline for Amory.
Okay. And is this also an accurate depiction of the family plan drafted for this case?
That is.
Okay. And it was filed with the court on May 5th of 2025 also,
Yes.
and signed by the supervisor and the caseworker at the time.
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit F11 into the Franco case.
Any objection?
None.
No objection?
No objection.
Okay, F11 will be admitted into the Franco case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Mills, you also attended a status hearing in that case, is that correct?
That is correct.
And again, are family plans of service generally made in order of the court during the status hearing?
Yes.
And did that happen in this case?
Yes, it did.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit F12 into the Franco case. It's the file marked copy of the family plan of service from the hearing, or excuse me, file marked copy of the status hearing order that Ms. Mills just stated she was present for.
Any objection?
No
No
objection?
objection.
Objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit F12 will be admitted into the Franco case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Mills, did you meet with the mother while she was incarcerated?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And did y'all discuss the services and what she needed to do?
Yes.
Okay. And as we mentioned earlier, she has been working on what she can while she's incarcerated. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. At this time, though, the main hurdle and the problem is that mom is incarcerated for an extended period of time, correct?
That is correct.
And she's limited on what she can do.
Yes.
And by mom's testimony a while ago, she placed the children in some dangerous situations
Yes.
and is not eligible for parole for another 4 years.
That's correct.
Okay. Did you discuss with the mother who the father to Amory Franco is?
I did try to attempt to discuss with her. She never would confirm or deny Ben Van Loo. I actually got that information from Jacqueline's mother, Amy Chavez.
Okay. After that, did you discuss this person with the mother?
Yes,
Okay. And did she state whether there was a possibility that he could be the father?
she did.
Okay. Did you ever make contact with Ben Lou?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And how did that contact go?
Um, it was good. I had texted him several times, went by his addresses. He had no interest in meeting me, but did finally agree to meet me at the office.
Okay. And did that happen?
It did.
Okay. And what happened at that meeting?
On that meeting, it took place on the 29th of July, and he signed an affidavit, a waiver of interest.
Okay. And we're going to go through that. Were you there when that happened?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And so dad, the alleged dad, Ben Lou, came to the office and signed an affidavit of waiver of interest.
That's correct.
Were there two witnesses to that?
There was.
Okay. Was it notarized?
It was.
And did he sign it?
He did.
And that was done on the 29th day of July, 2025.
That's correct.
With that, did the department sign a consent to being managing conservator?
Yes,
And you actually signed that, is that correct?
that's correct.
Okay. Mr. Lou wanted nothing to do with the case,
That's correct.
and he did not even request paternity testing or want to know. Is that correct?
Right. That's
And
correct.
that is laid out in the affidavit of waiver of interest.
Yes,
He asked to essentially not be contacted, served, or be a part of this case.
that is correct.
Okay. And that's for now, for future. He does not want this coming back and asking at a different time.
That is correct.
Was that waiver of interest filed with the court?
Yes, it was.
And was that filed with the court on August 5th, or yes, August 5th of 2025?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I would ask to admit Exhibit F13. It's the file marked copy of the affidavit waiver of interest that was just testified to.
Any objection, counsel?
No objection?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit F13 will be admitted into the Franco case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Mills, did the department runs paternity registry searches, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And was that done in Amory Franco's case?
It was.
Okay. Did the paternity registry have anybody listed as an intent to claim paternity of this child?
No, it did not.
Okay. And was that paternity registry search filed to court?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, I would ask to admit Exhibit F14 into the Franco case as the paternity registry search that Mr. Mills just testified to.
Any objection?
No objection?
No objection.
I don't have any objection. I'm not even sure I have standing to make an objection in this case, but just to keep things clear, no objection.
All right, then petitioner's exhibit F14 will be admitted into the Franco case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Mills, at this time, is the department requesting the termination of possible rights between Ben Lou and the child Amory Franco?
Yes,
And is that based upon his failure to register with paternity registry and the waiver of interest?
yes,
And do you believe that's in the best interest of the child?
I do.
And do you also to any other possible fathers that could be out there that are unnamed at this time?
Yes.
And how has, we'll switch back over to the mother now. Your conversation with mom, have y'all, the department or St. Francis, have you been in contact with any of the mother's family?
Yes, I have. I have talked with her mother, Amy, and then her sisters, and then their boyfriends or husbands.
Okay. And did St. Francis ever run home studies on any of mom's family members?
We did not run any home studies. Her family does have criminal history and CPS history. Um, Now, I know she did say that her sister does not have any CPS or criminal history, and that is true, but her boyfriend does, and he is a live-in.
Okay.
And so we did look into members of her family. We have not found a suitable home, but also the girls are in a very good placement right now. We typically don't move children from one good placement to another placement
Okay.
unless there's some reason.
But the department they didn't oppose running any home studies. It just was not valid homes that we could.
That's correct.
Okay. There were issues with each family member that we looked at or somebody that lived in that home.
That's correct.
Okay. And when y'all looked into these things, they were complete bars to running home studies at the up front? Is that what happened?
Yes, if somebody's got criminal history that lives in the home, I mean, we wouldn't run a home study.
Okay. And when we say criminal history, you're not talking about traffic tickets or stuff like that. You're talking about a little more serious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you said that was one sister in the live-in boyfriend. What about the other homes?
Um, the grandparents have extensive criminal history. She did have a brother that she had asked me to look into, and I was never able to get in touch with him. And then there's another, I believe, sister, Alexis, that also had a live-in or a husband that had criminal history.
Okay. And outside of those people, has mom given you any other names of people to look at?
No.
Okay. But do y'all have this conversation regularly?
Well, I haven't spoken to her in person in months due to her being moved. But when I would see her in Potter County, that's mainly what she would want to talk about. She desperately wants her children to be with her family.
Okay. But to this point, everybody that she has given you is not a valid placement.
That's correct.
Okay. Placement for the children right now with Ms. Davidson is going well.
Very well.
They're being looked after well.
Yes.
They're meeting all their needs.
All their needs and more.
Has there been any issues with the placement with Ms. Davidson?
None.
Okay. Is the department today asking the court to terminate the parental rights of the mother, Jacqueline Franco, as to Miliana, Maricela, and Amory?
Yes, we are.
And is that based upon the endangerment grounds, the D&E grounds,
Yes.
and based upon testimony from moms that she took the children to that drug deal that night?
Yes.
And also based upon the ground that mom has committed a criminal offense that has kept the children, or for her from caring for the children, from the time the petition was filed up until a 2-year mark at least.
Yes.
And that's based upon even mom's testimony and evidence put in that mom is possibly incarcerated for at least another 9 years.
Yes.
Okay. And do you believe that terminating the mother and father's rights and leaving the children where they are is in the best interest of the children?
I do.
And we can ask Ms. Davidson this, but is Ms. Davidson, to your understanding, motivated to adopt the children if they become available?
She is.
Okay. And is that the plan if the court decides to terminate parents' rights?
Yes.
Okay. And you believe that that is in the best interest of the children?
I do.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
Ms. Archer?
Ms. Mills, when you visited Jacqueline in Potter County, did she seem committed to working all the services that she could work?
Yes, she did say she would do what she could and what was offered.
And do you believe she's done that?
I believe she's worked everything she possibly could, yes.
And did she mention to you, or did her demeanor indicate that she wanted to be reunited with the kids one day?
She did, and she does love her children.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Mr. Novak, any questions?
No questions, Judge. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Zavala.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
All right. And Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Not as of this time, Your Honor. I don't want to say the department rest. I believe we would ask to recess to allow Mr. Novak's client to take care of what they are looking to do, Your Honor.
All right. So at this time, then we will recess the case so that Mr. Novak can try to secure what my understanding is that he wants to execute a voluntary relinquishment in the Martinez case. Because these are sibling cases, I'm going to reserve ruling in both cases. So I want to talk to y'all real quickly about reset date. Ms. Katie has proposed a few dates, and I know these are pretty quick, but I don't see that this should take us too long. January 20th at 10:30 or 1 o'clock. Or January 22nd at 1:30. And Ms. Boyd, I don't know if you might be available either of those times. So January 20th at 10:30 or at 1 o'clock that day.
Judge, I could only do the morning on the 20th. I have a committee meeting that afternoon.
Okay.
And then on the 22nd, I'm available all day.
Both days and times that you mentioned, Judge, are good for me.
I'm
I can
available
do
as
either.
well.
Either, Ms. Archer?
I'm available those dates.
Okay. Ms. Zavala, you're here, so
I'm available both days. It looks like maybe Miss Boyd is not, possibly.
The 22nd, is that the date? The second day?
22nd at 1:30.
1:30. I should be back by then. I go to Hansford in the morning, but I'll be back.
Okay. Sandra, you're not available either at any of those times? Let me send you a prompt. Might make it easier. There we go.
Yes. I also had Hansford County that morning on the 22nd. But if Ms. Walker can be back, then I should be able to at least do a Zoom that day, the 22nd at 1:30.
Okay. Let's see, Ms. Powell, you are okay on that?
Yes, Judge, I
Okay.
can do the 22nd.
Okay, why don't we shoot for the 22nd at 1:30, and if Ms. Archer and Ms. Boyd are running a little late, we'll just all live with it.
Okay.
And Ms. Katie, I mean, would it be better for us to set it like at 2 or something like that, so they're not so rushed?
That if everyone's okay with that, that's fine.
That'd be great.
Okay, let's just say 2 o'clock then. So that they won't be just really pressed.
Can we do another order to get Miss Franco to appear?
Yes.
Yes. 2. Okay, and then Mr. Novak, you can just, I guess you can let us know whether Mr. Martinez wants to come back in or not. I mean, it's whatever he wants to do at that point.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Judge, if I may real quick, since we have Miss Davidson here, I would like to go ahead and ask her a few questions so she maybe doesn't have to appear again if she's busy that day.
Sure.
Judge, also, do I have a witness in the waiting room?
I don't have anybody else out there.
Okay.
All right then, before we recess, then Mr. Trout, I'll permit you to go ahead and call Ms. Davidson. Ms.
Thank you,
Davidson,
Honor. And-
if you'll raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And Your Honor, just for the record, I would like to release Miss Mills, keep her on hold because she'll be called back, but then call Miss Davidson for now.
Okay. Anybody have any objection to me releasing Ms. Mills?
No objection.
No objection.
All right, Ms. Mills, we'll see you back on the 22nd. Appreciate it. All right, you may proceed, Ms. Davidson.
Thank you. Ms. Davidson, can you state your name for the record, please?
Christina Davidson.
Okay. And are you the current kinship placement for the children?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how are you kin?
I am the paternal aunt. Jose Martinez's sister.
Okay. You've been here and heard testimony today, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a couple of questions. If the court decides to terminate parental rights, is it your intention to be permanent placement for the children and to go through with adoption?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you currently licensed or in the process of getting licensed?
We are in the process. We just had our home study with Arrow Foster Agency. And so we should hear back at the beginning of February
Okay.
for a home study.
Okay. And I don't want to put you too much on the spot here, but I'm going to ask this question. Down the road, if you are
Yes, sir.
able to adopt and care for these children and be their full-time home, in the future, if parents get things together and are clean and sober, are you willing to consider any contact down the road?
I would be willing to consider it down the road, yes.
Okay. But that would be depending on the parents in the situation.
Correct. Yes, sir.
All right. I testify to.
Okay. Mr. Trout, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honor. Ms. Franco, would you state your name for the record, please?
Jacqueline Ann Franco.
And Ms. Franco, you are the mother to Maricela, Miliana, and Amory?
Yes, sir.
And where are you currently?
I'm currently at the Woodman State Jail.
Okay. And can you tell me how long you were set to be there?
At this unit, I am not sure.
Okay. How long are you set to be incarcerated?
Well, I have a 10-year sentence, but I am eligible for parole in 2030.
Okay. So from about 5 years before you're eligible for parole?
I've already been incarcerated for a year, so I'm pretty sure like 4 more years, and then I'm eligible.
Okay. And what is your charges that you are incarcerated for?
Manufacture and delivery, sir.
Okay. Do you have another charge that you took a year plea deal on?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Possession of a controlled.
Sorry, Ms. Franco. I'll ask it this way. Did you also have a charge for a possession of controlled substance?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was a case that you were on deferred probation for at the time that you were arrested for the manufactured delivery. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you were revoked off of the probation and then took a plea deal for the 1 year on the controlled substance case.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge, I would ask to admit, and my number is a little different on these, but exhibits M and F 1 through 8 at this time, Your Honor. And I'll walk through what they are. Exhibit M and F 1 is the indictment for the manufactured delivery case that Ms. Franco just stated she was incarcerated for. Exhibit 2, MF2, is the judgment of conviction for that manufactured delivery, showing that she has pled to the 10 years in Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Exhibit MNF3 is the indictment for the possession of controlled substance. MNF4 is the order deferring adjudication on that possession of controlled substance. MNF5 and MNF6 are the motion to proceed and the amended motion to proceed on that possession controlled. Exhibit M and F7 is the defendant's plea on community supervision revocation. And then M and F8 is the judgment adjudicating guilt for the 1 year sentence that Ms. Franco testified to.
No objection.
Objection on 5 and 6. I would object because there's hearsay within those by the probation officer on allegations.
Your Honor, I'd state that Ms. Franco's testified that she did plead guilty on the revocations. Exhibit number 7 on the defendant's plea states that she was pleading true to A through F on those motions to proceed.
And I have no objection to 7. I agree with him on 7, but 5 and 6, I don't see the point of since we have 7.
Give me just a second. I'm looking
Yes.
at 'em. Well, hang on. I've lost just a minute. I lost 6. Just a minute. Let me pull it up again. All right.
And Your Honor, I would also state, I believe the objection from Ms. Archer is that there was hearsay statements from the probation. Neither one of these contain the written statement of the probation officer. They are simply the motions from the state alleging the allegations.
I'm going to overrule the objection as it to being hearsay, and then I'm looking at 7. you know, which essentially contains that she's pled true on that. So I'm going to overrule the objection, Ms. Archer, and I will admit petitioner's exhibits. Or, well, did anybody else have an objection?
No objection.
Okay, Mr. Novak didn't object, so, okay. All right, then we'll admit petitioner's exhibits, MF 1 through 7, correct? We
Eight.
didn't get into 8 yet, did we? Or was it 8?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Eight's
eight.
the judgment adjudicating the guilt.
Okay, exhibits 1 through MF 1 through 8.
And Judge, and I have marked as M and F to put them into the Martinez and into the Franco case, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, so exhibits will be admitted in both cases.
Thank you, Your
Okay,
Honor. Ms. Franco, can you still hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At the time of removal, you were arrested for the manufactured delivery charge, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you went to jail that night, the night of the removal, and your children were placed in the care on the same night, is that correct?
In the what?
That your children were placed into the care of the department on that same night, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Once you were arrested for that, did you ever bond out, or have you been incarcerated ever since then?
I'm confused. Can you repeat that?
Yes, ma'am. The night you were arrested for the manufacturing delivery, the same night as the removal of the children, you have not been out of custody since then, is that correct?
I don't think so.
Okay, you never bonded out?
No, sir.
Okay, so you were in Potter County up until you took your plea and were transferred to TDCJ, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you stated that you had as shown in the evidence in the documents, a 10-year sentence.
I stated that I had a 10-year sentence, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. At the time of the removal, and your arrest, who did you leave the children with?
I wanted to leave them with my family, and I tried to make a big issue about them being with my family, but nobody listened to
Objection,
me.
Your Honor, non-responsive.
oh, all right, I'll sustain. Ms. Franco, listen carefully to what he's asking. He didn't ask what you wanted. He just asked what happened. So just
Made a list. I made a list
Hey, hold
of
on.
my family.
Hang on. I'm gonna let him re-ask a question. Then you can answer.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll rephrase it, Ms. Franco. The night you were arrested, you had left the children in a car with somebody, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was so the children were in the car when you went to make this deal, is that correct? The drug deal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you left the children, who is Luis Ybarra?
At the time, that was my boyfriend.
Okay. How long had you known him?
I've known him for over a year.
Okay. At the time of the incident, you had known him for over a year?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did he have a relationship with your children?
As a good person, yes, he was a friend, but it was how do you say? He wasn't around often, but he did finally get introduced to my kids.
Okay. How long before this incident?
I'm gonna say 4 to 5 months.
Okay. At the time when this happened, were you using any type of drug?
Yes, I was using. I was going to the facility for the methadone
Okay. What were you using?
Fentanyl.
Okay. Was Mr. Ybarra also using fentanyl?
At the time, no, he was on methadone.
Okay. Was he recovering at the time, or was he just using methadone?
That's a part of the recovery process.
Okay. And what was he on methadone for?
Fentanyl.
Okay. Is that the only thing y'all were using?
Yes, sir.
Were you ever using methamphetamines?
No.
Okay.
I remember getting it mixed with my how do you say it, fentanyl, and then it came in my system that time. Other than that, no, sir.
Okay.
But I was actively addicted to fentanyl and was trying to recover with using methadone.
Okay. Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 9. It's a business records affidavit that's been served to the parties, showing a drug screen from Ms. Franco.
Yes, sir.
Shortly around the time of the removal, where moms had amphetamines and methamphetamines in her system.
All right, any objection, counsel?
No objection.
No objection?
Ms. Archer, I didn't hear you if you said anything.
No objection since they have a business record affidavit with it.
All right, so petitioners exhibit M and F9 will be admitted into both cases.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. Franco, that test is showing that you had amphetamines and methamphetamines in your system.
Yes, sir.
But your testimony is that
I told the probation officer that when I was doing the fentanyl, that I think methadone or meth was put into it because I don't recall actually purposely doing meth.
Okay, and that was going to be my question, Ms. Franco.
Yes, sir.
But you're not denying that you had the meth in your system.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were y'all using at the time that you transported the kids to make this drug deal?
No, we were using methadone.
Okay. But y'all were both high in some manner while transporting these children?
At the time, the method, yes. I don't like calling methadone a high because you have to use it to get better.
I understand. But is that the case when you were transporting the children?
I was taking a unit, yes, not throughout the day, but in the beginning of the day, yes.
Okay. Before this happened, how long had it been since you had used fentanyl?
Methadone, I've actually, from the incident, I recently found out about the methadone clinic. So it was going on 2 to 3 weeks when I found out about the methadone clinic.
Okay.
To get you off of the fentanyl.
Okay. But Ms. Franco, let's do my question real quick. When was the last use of fentanyl that you had done?
I'm going to say 2 weeks prior.
Okay. And at that time, you were the caretaker of the children?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Were you caring for the children while you were using fentanyl?
At that time, no. Well, I had a lot of help with my family that held possession of my kids when I was in active addiction.
Okay. So is your testimony that you never had the kids in your possession when you were high on fentanyl?
Yeah, no, I have. I've had one in the very beginning, but when it would get to the point where I couldn't control it, my sister would take my kids from me.
Okay. And you pled to a charge of manufacturing and delivering for a drug deal. You were transporting the kids the night of the removal while possessing fentanyl. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, right now I'd also ask to admit exhibit number M&F 10. It is a printout from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice website stating of when mom's parole eligibility will be, which is 3/19 of 2030, and a projected release date of 3/19/2035.
Counsel, any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioners exhibit M and F10 will be admitted in both cases.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Franco, who is the father of Miliana and Maricela?
Jose Martinez.
Okay. And do y'all have prior orders, custody orders?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And there was a no contact order between Mr. Martinez and the girls, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that from around August of 2023?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I would ask the court to take judicial notice of prior orders out of this case from August of 2023 stating a no contact order between Mr. Martinez and the girls.
All right, counsel, any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, I'll take judicial notice of those prior orders.
Thank you, Your Honor. And then, Ms. Franco, there was at the time, you had a man named Dylan Dorsey named as the father of Amory, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he has since been ruled out through paternity testing to be the father, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you gave us a name of, let me get his name correct. Is it Ben Luke?
Yes.
Okay. And you believe him, is that who you believe to be the father of Amory?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, I would ask to, well, I'll back up on that. I'll strike that, Your Honor. Have you had contact with Ben Luke?
No, sir.
Okay. When was your last contact with him?
Cannot recall, sir.
Okay. Has he ever had any contact or communication with Amy?
No. No, sir.
Okay. Has he ever met her in her life?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you're not sure when that last contact was?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Franco, are you familiar with the family plans of service?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so you've been given a list of services to work?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you have done what you can while you've been incarcerated, is that correct?
Yes, sir. I've currently done incarcerated of family parents, how to become a better parent, parenting through the Bible, recovery and reflections, parental or generational parenting, and I'm in GED, and I'm also getting my CTEC certifications.
Okay. All right. And you've been working on that since you've been in TDCJ, or did you start working on those things while you were in Potter County?
I had certificates in Potter County too, yes, but the tablet on there, I don't know how that works, but this is while in TDCJ, but I was working systems in Potter County also.
Okay, all right. And you've sent what you could to your attorney, correct?
Yes, from TDCJ. Well, there was I couldn't send everything because a lot of it is paperwork or paper certifications, but what I was on the Adobo, I have sent.
Okay. And you have a copy of those family plans?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And you're aware that those family plans were made in order of the court, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you had stated earlier that you had given a list of names to the department at the time of removal, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And those were members of the family you wanted to be looked into to care for the children?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And can you tell me who those people were?
So I had my sister, of course, first up front is Marina Franco. And then I had my aunt, Eleanor Tarin. I also had my sister, Reina Ponce.
Okay.
And my grandmother, Frances Magana.
Okay. To your knowledge, do any of those people have criminal history or CPS history?
No, sir.
Okay. Is that you're 100% sure they don't, or to your knowledge?
The only one that has history would be my grandmother.
Okay. All right. None of the other people have ever been arrested or have any type of criminal history?
My sister has traffic tickets. Other than that, no.
Okay. And none of them, your sisters, anybody, have any type of CPS history?
No, sir.
Okay. Give me 1 second, Ms. Franco. Your Honor, I'll pass the witness at this time.
All right, thank you. Ms. Archer?
Jacqueline, when you said that one of your sisters would look after the children on the days that you were struggling with your addiction, which sister was that?
My sister, Marina Franco.
Okay. And did you provide CPS the list of placement options that you just mentioned to Mr. Trout?
Yes, ma'am.
Did they ever get back to you on that?
No, ma'am.
Let's switch gears a little bit. When you had the kids in your care, how did you discipline them?
Taking the iPad away or talking to them.
And are you the one who took them to school?
Yes, ma'am. And my sister helped me a lot too when my sister's been my main support system.
And did you have a home or where did you stay with the kids?
I had a home.
Did it have electricity?
It had electricity. It had all utilities. It was a very nice home.
And did you ever have any trouble with food or did you have plenty of food for the kids?
Plenty of food. They had everything they need plus some.
Have you had contact with them since you became incarcerated?
I've currently tried to get a hold of Christina she's messaged me once through Securus, but I haven't got a message back from her, but I've currently been messaging her to get updates and to tell the kids I love them and just to keep informed with the kids and asking permission if I can get a hold of them more often or hear from them or anything, and I haven't got nothing back yet.
And have you sent any letters to the kids?
No, I haven't sent letters, but I have so many pictures drawn for them. So many pictures. But I asked Christina for an address so I can deliver the letters.
And did you ever get an address back?
Not yet.
And you mentioned some of the classes that you took to complete your family plan. Did you do anything Were you able to do anything besides the classes while you've been in there?
So I'm in currently I'm in parental or generation of parenting. Like I said, I did parenting through the Bible. Also, how to become a better parent, recovering, reflections and recovery. Also, I'm doing my GED right now. I have 5 certificates through CTech, and I'm currently 1 away from graduating the whole program. And I'm currently waiting on cognitive right now.
Judge, can I ask you to take judicial notice of the certificates that were e-filed yesterday by the department? And they were also emailed to all the parties on Tuesday.
Counsel, any objection?
No objection.
I have no objection, Your Honor, on the ones that were filed with the court.
No objection.
Okay, I'll take judicial notice of those that were filed through e-file and have been circulated.
Thank you, Judge.
Uh-huh.
Jacqueline, do you stay in contact with the caseworker?
No, I haven't. So recently, I finally got her letters that came through my JPay, but replying back has been an issue through the email or the address given.
But you would you have stayed in contact if you could have replied?
Yes, but it's difficult to reply because it's through the JPay, and her or the address that from the JPay is invalid.
Do you have a plan of a place to stay when released?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
And where is that?
I have currently options, and one is with my brother. And like I said, I have a big support system in my family, and so far my brother. And if anything, I would also like to do something about I don't know exactly what it's called, but like a re-entry home that helps me get back on my feet to the full potential that I'm going to be in. But I do have a lot of family offering that place for me.
Do you believe it's in the kids' best interest to be with you when you're released?
I believe that I should work and gain their trust back and show them that I could be the mom that I'm supposed to be. I believe that I could work hard, and since I've been incarcerated, I've only proven myself. I've never gotten in trouble. I've only proven myself of the person I know I'm capable of being, and I want to fight for that chance more than anything.
Jacqueline, do you love your kids?
I love them more than life, and I made a mistake, and I regret it, but I love them, and I love them more than anything in this world.
Are you asking the court to not terminate your rights today?
I'm asking the court not to terminate my rights. I want to be able to fight for them and earn their trust back, and I want to be their mother.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Mr. Nowak, any questions?
No questions, Judge.
All right, Ms. Zavala?
Miss Franco, you stated that you were using fentanyl, but when it got out of control, your sister would come in and help you with the kids or take the kids. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then when things calmed down, she would give them back?
Once I showed myself that I was doing better.
Okay. How did she know when you were out of control on fentanyl?
She's seen, her son is the same age as mine, and she's seen me every day. I have a big family, and they're very, I'm not going to say overprotect. Well, yes, they're very bearing. So there's not a day that I wouldn't go by that my family doesn't see me or I don't talk to them. And if I don't, then it's strange, and they come around.
And then what would you have to do to show that you were okay enough to take care of them again, for her to give them back?
Go back to like go into my group therapy, counseling, be more around her, because when I'm around my sister, she brings out the best of me.
So So you said there were times when you were taking fentanyl, but you were okay enough to take care of the kids.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What level of fentanyl is that?
It would be more of taking a pill just to be okay, and then I found out about the methadone clinic, and then it was just the methadone.
But like what amount of fentanyl is it okay to use and still be safe for you to be providing the primary care for your children?
I'm not going to give an excuse to say that it's okay to use any type of drugs and care for your children. But I was trying to actively seek help for myself. I am an addict, and I know that's a mistake, but I do try to help myself. I don't just give in to it completely.
When was the removal in March of 2025, is that correct?
As far as I can recall, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you had the kids with you then. Prior to March of 2025, when was the most recent time that one of your family members was taking care of the kids?
Like I said, my sister helped me throughout all that time, especially throughout March, because I was working and trying to get myself a vehicle for my car, so she would help me with them, or she would help all the time, stay, school, with everything. My sister was really a big support system.
And she saw you every day through that March time period and felt like, okay, you're okay to have your kids.
She was always there with me. My sister was always there with me, and there was times I was by myself, and that's when I would mess up when I separated myself from her.
So that night in March, you had the 3 kids in the car. And where was the fentanyl located?
Where was the what?
Where was the fentanyl located in the car?
Under the hood.
And you would hold your kids while you were using?
What do you?
Like when you're at home and after you'd taken fentanyl, you would hold them and interact with them and touch them?
When I would swallow my pill, yes, I would be around my kids all the time.
I pass the witness.
Okay, Mr. Trout?
Thank you, Anna. Ms. Franco, at the time of the removal in this incident, you had an open safety plan and an open case with the department already. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was struggling with an addiction.
Yes, ma'am. And you were on probation
Yes, sir.
for possession of controlled substances.
Yes, sir.
You were still actively using.
Yes,
Correct.
sir.
Okay. And you had actually tested positive for probation the month before. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. There was times I was good, and there was times that I messed up. I would recover and then have a relapse and
Objection, Your
recover,
Honor.
because there's times on my record that shows that it was good.
Ms. Franco, hang on, just,
No.
when he objects, you need to just stop talking.
Oh,
so
okay,
I can
I'm so
rule
sorry.
on it. Okay, so
It
I'll
was
sustain the objection as to,
non-responsive, Your Honor.
non-responsive, and then you can ask him, you can ask a question again.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Franco, the family members that were helping you take care of the children at times, they knew you were an addict?
No, sir.
Well, Ms. Franco, you said your sister would take the kids when she knew you were using, and it wasn't kids.
Because of this, I had an ongoing CPS case.
Okay.
So when she found out, my sister was so disappointed in me. But my sister did, when she didn't expect anything until when CPS called her.
Okay. So when you say when you were actively using, your family would help you out and take the kids, you mean for the 2 months prior
Yes.
to the kids being removed?
Yes, sir.
What about the years before that?
Years before that, I was good.
Well, you were on probation for a possession of a controlled substance from the
Yes,
year
and
before that.
I messed up a couple months, but no, I was good.
Ms. Franco, if you're taking your children to a drug deal with fentanyl in the car, you're not good. Do you understand?
No, I understand that, sir. I do understand that. That's not what I was saying. Before then, prior to that, yeah, I've had some relapses, but sir, there's times that I've been a while being sober,
I understand.
but I am an addict and I did fall. And I don't give any excuse for what I've done. I don't give no excuse because what I've done was awful.
Ms. Franco, Ms. Archer asked you a question earlier about, do you believe it'd be in the best interest for your kids to be with you if you were released? Do you remember that question?
Yes.
Okay. You're aware somebody else has to take care of your children for the next 4 to possibly 9 years. Are you correct? Are you familiar with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you believe it's in the best interest of your children to wait around and hope their mother gets out of prison within the next 9 years?
Within the next 9 years. No, I believe that my beliefs is that they have their mother still part of their lives.
Okay.
As long as I prove myself to them.
And I understand that.
It's the best interest is to have the mother and the child together.
Okay. That can't
But
happen.
I'm not saying that I just want it. I
Objection,
want
Your
to
Honor,
earn that.
non-responsive.
Okay, yeah, Miss Franco, you just answer what he's asked. I understand there's things you want to tell me. Your lawyer will be sure you get that chance, but listen
Ma'am.
to the question and answer only what he's asked you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Franco, your oldest children are 7 and 6, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the youngest is 4?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said you believe it's best for a mother and children to be together.
Yes, sir.
You're aware that may not happen until Miliana's 16. Are you aware of that?
That there's a possibility.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand that there's a possibility.
Okay. And that there's also a possibility at the best right now, she'll be 11 before you're out of prison and can be with her.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you think it's fair and in the best interest of the children to sit around and wait for that unknown?
I don't understand.
Do you think it's in the best interest of the children to be hanging in limbo on whether their mother's going to be out in 4 years or 9 years?
I don't believe hanging them in the unknown is a thing. Me being a part of their lives, that's not hanging them unknown.
Okay. Do you believe that it is in the best interest of the children to have some permanency in their life?
To have somewhat?
Permanency?
Permanency?
Yes, ma'am.
I do believe that, or can you repeat that question again?
I'll rephrase. Do you believe it's in the best interest of your children to know that they're going to wake up every day and go to bed in the same place and have their meals served to them in the same place and to be cared for in the same place without having to move around?
How do you say it? I do believe in that, and I want their best interest. But I also want them to know of their family and me.
You stated earlier that I believe, and I may misquote just a little bit, but that you love your children more than anything
Yes, sir.
and more than the world.
Yes, sir.
Were you having their best interest in mind when you were possessing controlled substances and being arrested and being put on probation?
That was my mistake. Yes, sir. I understand that. But me putting myself into the things that I'm doing right now is making myself a better person for them when I do get home.
And Ms. Franco.
And I have record of showing that I've only
Objection, Your Honor. No.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, just what he's asked. Don't go any further.
And do you believe you were loving them and had their best interest in mind when you were taking them to a drug deal with fentanyl pills in the car?
No, sir.
And I understand you're doing well now. However, Ms. Franco, it's kind of a forced situation with you right now, isn't it?
No, sir.
And the fact that you were on probation and had the chance to do better, and you kept using, and you kept dealing, and now you found yourself in prison for the next 4 to 9 years. Correct?
I have a choice, sir. I have a choice, sir. I have a choice to better myself or not to better myself. And I'm choosing to better myself.
And I understand that, and I hope you do, Ms. Franco. But while you were out and while you had the free will to make those choices, you chose to take your children to drug deals with fentanyl pills in the car.
And I suffered from addiction, yes.
Okay.
And I made a mistake, yes.
And when I say it is forced, what I mean is you were incarcerated and can't go anywhere and don't have the option to make those free will choices, correct?
As I said before, there is choices here, sir.
Yes, ma'am. And I'm happy that you're taking advantage of them, Ms. Franco, and I hope they work for you. But we're also here for the best interest of your children who are
yes, sir.
out here and being taken care of by other people because of the decisions you have made.
Yes, sir.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Archer, anything further?
Just a little bit, Judge. Jacqueline, do the other inmates around you, do they get to visit their kids on the tablets?
They get to talk to their children and they get to have visitations with their children, yes.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance to what other inmates get to do.
I'm getting there, Judge.
I'll give you a little bit of latitude, so.
Since this is a permissible form of communication in the jail with parents and children, do you wish that you had that option as well?
Yes, yes, I do.
And would you have taken advantage of it if the department had let you visit the kids on the tablet?
I would take advantage of any communication I can have with them.
And do you feel like if you at least were able to maintain possessory rights to your kids, that you could earn their trust and still have a relationship with them?
Yes, yes, ma'am, I really do.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Novak.
No questions, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Zavala.
No further questions.
Judge Baker, it looks like we lost the father unless he left earlier.
Oh, he was here just a second ago. Oh, I wonder if they cut him off out there.
I'll have Jax call out to the jail and see what's going on.
You want us to just take a break here, Mr. Novak? See.
That break would be just fine for me, Judge.
Okay.
That'd be wonderful.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Everybody remember where you were at, and we'll just take a short break and